WTOP's American Nightmare podcast series, Unknown Subject, is brought to you by Simply Safe. Simply Safe Home Security is different. They keep you safe and help you save. Get 40% off Simply Safe's advanced security system, because at Simply Safe, your safety is the only thing that matters.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is here, and so is Mountain Dew.
Roger that.
Now you can unlock in-game rewards like only Dew can.
Wait, what rewards?
A Dew Operator Skin.
Man, I love Operator Skins.
Dual double XP, and even Call of Duty points.
You're kidding me. Double XP and Call of Duty points? This is incredible. I can't believe it.
Soldier, get a hold of yourself.
Oh, roger that.
Look for specially marked packaging and visit mtndewgaming.com for details and restrictions. Open to U.S. residents 17 plus. Call of Duty points available on 12 and 24 packs and free 28-23.
Hello. It has been a little while since we've talked to you guys. This is Megan Cloherty and Jack Moore.
Hi.
Coming from WTOP Studios. And we told you we'd bring you a break in the case if there was one. So we have one. We just learned today that Daron Wint has lost his appeal and he will not get a retrial. And so today, because of the circumstances we just found out, this is going to be a more informal podcast where Jack and I kind of talk about what the decision says, what this means, maybe give a tiny bit of a recap so we can all get our heads around this thing. But Jack, the last time we were here was when
Daron Wint's defense team filed the appeal.
I don't even remember.
That was December of 2020 or January of 2021. And so kind of the basis of the appeal is a little complicated legally, but it can be boiled down to basically Daron Wint's defense attorneys wanted to call an additional witness at the trial.
Yep.
And kind of the way the trial played out is, the prosecution goes first, then the defense gets a chance to put on its case, and that's when Daron took the stand. And of course, he blames his brothers. That was his defense. Then the prosecution gets another crack during rebuttal. And that's where they put Daron Wint on the stand and spent some time basically trying to provide an alibi for him. That's when we learned that Daron was in Gaithersburg, according to the evidence, that he was buying a pizza of his own with Garnett and having it with his kids. And also when we learned of the infamous Haters Hate video.
Watch them haters hate, they get mad, I'm so glad today. Every time I hit the streets, I bet the freaks cooperate. Yes, you know they call me Mr. Mode, I do not gossip play. I see, I want, I cry, I get that just the way I operate.
Which was uploaded to YouTube on May 13th, 2015, which is when the Savopoulos family and Vera Figueroa were taken hostage on Woodland Drive.
So basically it gave Daron an alibi that he was there and everyone remembered him being there.
Exactly. And so then after that happened, the prosecution rests its case. And in that phase of the trial, the defense has also rested its case. They wanted to call an additional witness, a woman named Ikea Williams, who lived at the house in Gaithersburg with Anthony Anderson. And she would have, her testimony, according to the grand jury, may have weakened Daron's alibi somewhat, because she testified in the grand jury that whenever Daron stopped by, he always called or texted. And the problem is, in the call records, there's no evidence, there's no calls or texts on May 13th, 2015. There is some calls and texts on May 19th. So the defense was saying, isn't it more likely that the day Daron went to Gaithersburg and watched the Haters Hate video was May 19th, 6 days after the killings? Mm-hmm. So the defense wanted to introduce this as evidence to undercut Daron's alibi. But the judge ended up saying, no, you could have called Ikea Williams during your case. And, at this point in time, the trial had been going on for almost 6 weeks, lengthy time. And, having the defense call another witness or other witnesses after the rebuttal, this would have been then a surrebuttal, which is not unheard of, but it's uncommon. And so the judge said, no, you already had your chance, and we're moving right along to closing arguments.
And Judy Pipe, who is the defense attorney, y'all will remember, she basically made the argument during all of this that was not happening in front of the jury. It was just the attorneys and the judge and us, the gallery. But she was basically saying Ikea Williams' name was on the prosecution's rebuttal list. So she thought she was going to be able to do a cross-examination against Ikea Williams, right? So she was very surprised. And again, it really doesn't make sense why she didn't call her in the first place. But that was her argument to the judge. Like, oh, it looked like they were going to call her, so I didn't. And then she never got her chance to have her on the stand.
Exactly. And then, but the judge said no, moved along with the trial. But that became the basis for the appeal.
Yes.
In the oral arguments before D.C. Court of Appeals, which is the district's highest court for local matters, not, federal cases or federal trials, the oral arguments were in March of this year. And those are interesting to watch, but, kind of at a higher level. They're highly legalistic and, it's just the judges and the lawyers arguing, kind of arcane points of law. So watching those, it was hard for us to figure out which way they're swaying. We don't know. We can't figure out some of the time what they're even arguing about. But and then you wait after that point.
For a long time, by the way.
Exactly. The Court of Appeals, has a lengthy caseload, and sometimes it can be a year or more after they hear oral arguments to when they issue an opinion. And the only way to really know is there's a website where they post all of their opinions, and you just have to go there and periodically visit and refresh the page and see if anything has popped up, which is exactly what happened today.
Wait, and you guys know Jack did this, of course, our detail-oriented superstar here. So you double-checked, and it came down today, and this is about noonish, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to get into a little bit of what the decision says because it is kind of legalese, but also we want to really give you guys a sense for the panel's wording on their decision. So what was interesting to me, Jack, was that in denying him the appeal, they also acknowledged that he should have been able to have, or Judy Pipe should have been able to have a rebuttal.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's kind of two different parts to the decision. So they say, no new trial, but
the court kind of did err, if you will, when it came to this. Let's pull the quote. I think there's a quote in the very top. Mm-hmm. Okay, so maybe this is a good place to take a break while we find that. Did you know that property crimes like burglaries and package thefts tend to spike over the winter? That's why many people choose to secure their home with award-winning home security from Simply Safe. The 24/7 professional monitoring service costs under $1 a day, which is less than half the price of traditional home security systems. And with the top-rated Simply Safe app, stay in complete control of your system. Arm or disarm, unlock for a guest, access your cameras, or adjust system settings anytime, anywhere. You see, Simply Safe is a whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and out, and smarter ways to detect motion that alert you only when a threat is real. It even detects fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Customize your perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/nightmare. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off your order with interactive monitoring. That's simplysafe.com/nightmare. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Welcome back, guys. So we found the exact quote we wanted to pull for you from the Court of Appeals decision. It said, quote, "The weight of other overwhelming evidence against the appellant," which is Wint, "rendered any error by the trial court in denying rebuttal harmless." And what is that evidence, just to remind people?
So there is the DNA on the crust of the half-eaten pizza, Domino's pizza, that was delivered to the house while the victims were being held hostage. Right. There's the DNA on the construction vest found in Amy Savopoulos' burned-out Porsche. Mm-hmm. There is a hair found upstairs in the bedding in the bedroom where the victims were restrained and held hostage. And then there's a hair found in the hard hat in the garage. And then there's also the kind of incriminating searches on his phone.
Right.
Searches for the crime, the fire on Woodland Drive, and then things like, hideout cities for fugitives, how to beat a lie detector. So that was, kind of the evidence that they call overwhelming. That was some of the evidence they cited. And
the dark time when Daron's phone had no activity at all because it had to be connected to Wi-Fi, and it happened to be during the time of the murders. And it's interesting because this thing is about 40 pages, the decision, and they really do synopsize the trial for us. I mean, we could have used this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in going back to that idea of there are kind of like two ideas here, they do really seem to come down on the idea that the defense should have had the chance for a sur rebuttal. They disagree. For example, one of the reasons why the judge denied the chance for a sur rebuttal was that Ikea Williams' testimony was equivocal, meaning it wasn't, it was kind of maybe, sorta, and
it wasn't a smoking gun, essentially.
Exactly. And the appeals court says, we disagree that Williams was too, quote, equivocal for her testimony to squarely meet and question the Gaithersburg alibi. Williams' testimony made it less probable that Darrell had visited Gaithersburg on May 13th. This evidence should have gone to the jury. But, then on the other hand, they say, so the jury should have heard this. That's true. But on the other hand, look at all of this other evidence.
It wouldn't have made the difference, essentially.
Exactly.
So now that Daron Wint knows that this is over, where is he now, and is this the end for him?
So I think at last check, he is in a federal prison in Illinois. And I think, in terms of the appeals process, this was the kind of the major route, the major avenue for an appeal. And this is now over. I think for prisoners, for people convicted of crimes, there are other kinds of post-conviction appeals that can happen over the years. But this, kind of is the main avenue right out of the gate to get a new trial has been totally shot down.
It's a case that really dominated so many lives, obviously including the victims and their families, but the Wints, all these reporters and people who covered it and worked on the case. So it feels like the end of a chapter. And since this is such an informal conversation, Jack, it's been a huge part of our last 4 years. We started this thing 4 years ago.
Indeed, yeah.
And you still remember almost every detail. So I just wanted to thank you. And then thank the listeners we still are getting questions and stuff every once in a while. So if you guys have any questions about this episode, we'd be happy to answer them for you if you want to email us or hit us up on Twitter. But thank you for coming along this journey with us. And it seems like this is the end of this 22-hour podcast. Thanks for being here. 22 Hours, An American Nightmare was written, edited, and produced by Jack Moore and me, Megan Cloherty. Julia Ziegler is our content advisor. If you like our podcast, you can give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or leave us a review. It helps other listeners find us. And head to 22hourspodcast.com where you can leave us any questions or contact us on Twitter at 22hourspod. Music for this episode, of course, is Haters Hate by Ramon Messam. 22 Hours, An American Nightmare is a production of WTOP News in Washington, D.C.
Did you know that property crimes like burglaries and package thefts spike over the winter? That's why now is the best time to secure your home with award-winning home security. Simply Safe is the home security system I recommend to everybody. Make it your resolution to start the new year with greater peace of mind and safety for you and your family. In an emergency, 24/7 professional monitoring agents use Fast Protect technology exclusively from Simply Safe to capture critical evidence and verify the threat is real so you can get high-priority police response. Simply Safe is whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplysafe.com/nightmare. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off your order with interactive monitoring. That's simplysafe.com/nightmare. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare is here, and so is Mountain Dew.
Roger that.
Now you can unlock in-game rewards like only Dew can.
Wait, what rewards?
A Dew Operator Skin.
Man, I love operator skins.
Dual double XP, and even Call of Duty points.
You're kidding me. Double XP and Call of Duty points? This is incredible. I can't believe it.
Soldier, get a hold of yourself.
Oh, roger that.
Look for specially marked packaging and visit mtndewgaming.com for details and restrictions. Open to U.S. residents 17+. Call of Duty points available.